the Cubs ace in the 90s, and now Steve Traxel is back, making his third start on short rest. Lou Piniella looks for a solid outing from the veteran right-hander as the Cubs try to sustain the momentum from last night's huge win. We are indoors once again tonight inside Minute Maid Park for Chicago Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet. It's the rubber game tonight. The Cubs and the Houston Astros in Game 3. And as we do every day, let's check in on the updated standings. Milwaukee with its final off day of the season. So if the Cubs can win tonight, sole possession of first place once again. The Cardinals lost at Cincinnati. 0-7 they went on their road trip. They're 4.5 out. And hi again, everyone. Along with Bob Brentley, I'm Len Casper. And what a ninth inning last night. Maybe the win of the year for the Chicago Cubs.
Well, just the way things came about, it looked like the Cubs were going to let one get away there in the ninth inning. Mark Loretta with that base hit that hit the bag at first, ricocheted away from Derek Lee. And Mike Lamb with a gapper in right center field. That scored a run. The Astros had a runner at third base with nobody out. This was the play of the year. It took 3 great plays to turn this double play. Number 1, Derek Lee staying with the bad hop. Number 2, Ryan Theriot avoiding the runner. And number 3, Ryan Dempster getting over there to cover.
A big celebration after the ball game, and the Cubs winning 3-2. And you can't forget about Rich Hill's performance.
A tremendous performance by Rich Hill under the circumstances. This is not an easy ballpark for a left-handed pitcher with that short porch in left field, but he kept the right-handed hitters away from left field.
Huge start tonight for Steve Traxel. He'll face Woody Williams, who hasn't had a very good year, but he's been very good against the Cubs.
Yeah, he's had 4 starts against the Cubs leading up to tonight. 2 no decisions, a win and a loss, and he actually pitched the best in his loss to the Cubs. And for Steve Traxel, for a matter of fact, for both of these guys, very similar pitchers. Whoever settles in quickest on the mound is more likely to have a good game.
Well, coming up, Alfonso Soriano will lead it off for the Cubs tonight. Derek Lee out of the lineup. We'll tell you why when we come back.
Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet is brought to you in part by Chevy. Log on now to ChevyDriveChicago.com. Check us out today at ChevyDriveChicago.com. Walgreens, the pharmacy of the Chicago Cubs. Your local area Lexus dealer who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Rico, how well do you print, copy, scan, fax? How well do you share? Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, shining through. Cadillac, Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit. And by Southwest Airlines. With more flights to more places than ever before, Southwest is taking low fares farther. Visit Southwest.com.
And welcome back inside Minute Maid Park as we get set for the third game of this series. Final time these two teams will meet. It's the rubber match of the season series. Southwest Cubs lineup now: Soriano, Fontenot at second, Cliff Floyd in right, Ramirez at third, Darrell Ward in for Derek Lee, Kendall, Jones, Theriot, and Traxel rounding it out. And here we go. Woody Williams to Soriano. He fouls it away. 1 strike on the Cubs leadoff man. As you get the numbers for Woody Williams.
I mentioned in the open, very similar styles for Steve Traxel, Woody Williams. They move the ball around, cut it, change speeds. Both feature a big over-the-top breaking ball, and both pitchers need to stay out of the middle of the plate to be effective.
The wind and the 1-1 pitch. There's a drive by Soriano. Carlos Lee didn't move. 1-0. I'm not even quite sure where it landed. All I know is it's a home run. Number 25. The ball was walloped.
I don't know where it ended up either. Somewhere near the train up there above the Crawford boxes in left field. I don't think any of the Astros defenders moved on this one. Most notably Carlos Lee. Look at him there, just held his position. He knew where that one was headed. Good start. That's what you love to see.
A leadoff home run for Soriano. Mike Fontenot getting the start at second base. There's a ground ball outside of first. It's foul.
You know, Len, everything personal has to take a back seat at this time of year when your team is in a pennant race. But it's good to see Mike Fontenot in the lineup tonight. I ran into his father and his brother in the lobby at the hotel today. Drove over from Lafayette, Louisiana to see Mike play, and it's an unexpected start here in the third game of the series.
The leadoff home run for Alfonso, number 8 on the year. And the 40th leadoff home run of his career. Tapper toward third. Going to be a tough play for Lamb. The throw is late. That's an infield hit. So the Fontenot traveling party excited.
Sure,
he's 1 for 1.
Screaming their heads off somewhere in this ballpark. Little tapper to the left side. Fontenot gets out of the box quickly. Lamb with his first start at third base in this series. Tries to throw on the run, but Mike Fontenot beats it easily at first base.
And now the number 3 hitter, Cliff Floyd. Excellent night last night. In his first 2 at-bats, he homered and tripled. He's hitting third because Derek Lee was a late scratch. Derek fouled a ball off his back knee last night, his right knee, in his third plate appearance. And we hope it's only a one-day thing. Mike Riley said Cliff went around. Riley, the crew chief at third base. Jeff Kellogg, the home plate umpire. Eric Cooper at first. Andy Fletcher at second. So with Lee out, Floyd hitting third, Ramirez fourth, and Darrell Ward fifth.
Good numbers against Woody Williams in his career, including a couple of home runs among his 11 base hits.
That's low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, that leadoff home run by Soriano, the 200th hit allowed by Williams this year, and the 31st home run he's given up. Tied for the most allowed in the major leagues. Livan Hernandez has also surrendered 31 home runs. Tied for the 3rd most losses in the National League with 14. And did become the 10th pitcher in the National League to allow 200 hits this year. Runner goes. That is ball 4. First 3 have reached a home run, an infield hit, and a walk. This inning is kind of mirroring the last time the Cubs faced Williams in this ballpark. They had him on the ropes in the first inning. He eventually would get out of it with limited damage and then didn't give up anything the rest of the way.
And you saw Mike Fontenot on the move there. Humberto Quintero caught the first 2 games of this series for the Astros, and we saw what he's capable of, a cannon-like throwing arm. However, Eric Munson behind the plate tonight has struggled to throw out runners. Only 3 for 29 on the season. Might see the Cubs be a little more aggressive if they get the right guys on base in the right situations.
2 on for Ramirez, and again excellent numbers against Williams. They scored 1 time against Woody on August 7th. In the opening inning, there's a drive by Ramirez and a 3-run blast. 4-0. 4 batters, 4 runs. Number 23 for Aramis, and his 3rd career homer off Williams.
Well, no doubt Lou Piniella's the happiest man in the ballpark right now, but Steve Traxel a close second. He's going to be spotted to at least a 4-run lead before he even takes the mound. This one a little more of a line drive home run into those Crawford boxes in left field with a couple of teammates on base.
And still nobody out. Cubs now with 18 home runs in the month of September. This is only their 12th game of September.
Now, we speculated a couple of weeks ago that the home run power that had been absent most of the year for the Cubs offensively could very well show up in the last month of the season unexpectedly, and we're starting to see some signs of that.
Busted bat ground ball to Craig Biggio, and he will throw out Ward.
You mentioned the injury to Derek Lee's right knee last night. Fouled a ball off his back leg. Just caught him right there on top of the kneecap. Crumbled to the ground immediately. Took a long time to regroup before getting back in the batter's box. Ultimately grounded out in that at bat and really looked uncomfortable running down to first base. He was here early at the ballpark today getting treatments most of the afternoon as Jason Kendall singles into left field. But when Derek came out to take batting practice and tried to run around the bases, just couldn't go.
That's the 4th hit of the inning. And it makes Kendall 19 out of 39 against Williams. Jones batting 7th. By the way, this is the 13th game of the month for the Cubs. 6-6 in the first 12 in September. With a win tonight, they'll jump ahead of Milwaukee by a half game in the division. The Brewers with their final off day of the year. Breaking ball strike on Jones. Kendall with a short lead at first. Bounce to first, and Berkman bobbles. Williams covering, but the throw gets away from him. Kendall on his way to third. Jones to second. No throw by Williams. So 2 in scoring position with only 1 out. 4 already in.
Well, that play had disaster written all over it. Once Lance Berkman bobbled the ball over there at first base, that was going to be an incredibly tough play to throw back against his body. Woody Williams looking back toward the infield. The throw was well behind him. Both runners able to move up a base.
A single for Jock and an error on the throw by Berkman, allowing the runners to move up 1 more base.
Make it hurt. And we talked about Ryan Theriot being slid down to that 8 spot. Maybe take a little pressure off. He wouldn't have to hit the first inning. Well, here you go. But they're going to take the bat right out of his hands in this situation. Put it on Steve Traxel.
Traxel will come up with a bases loaded after the walk of Theriot.
Even though he was in the 8-hole in the lineup last night, Ryan Theriot did some damage. Drove in a run in the second inning with a sacrifice fly to center field. Hunter Pence's throw to the plate was just a little bit late. Great slide by Mark DeRosa to get in underneath the tag, and then in the 4th inning he singled to drive home Cliff Floyd deep in the hole at short, just legged it out at first base for an infield hit.
And I guess we can officially say welcome to the big leagues, Ryan Theriot. That's the first intentional walk of his career.
He'll stop the game and get the ball.
Steve Traxel takes a fastball strike. Bases loaded, 1 out, 2 home runs in the inning, a leadoff home run by Soriano and a 3-run shot by Ramirez.
I'll tell you, Len, this is an at bat where you wouldn't mind seeing Steve Traxel standing up there without a bat. Take them all. Don't hit into a double play. You've got Alfonso Soriano waiting in the on-deck circle. Would have an opportunity to bat with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Take them all.
I don't see any action in the Astros bullpen, but it may get up if Williams gives up another runner. Bunted foul by Traxel. He might have done that on his own.
I have to believe that was on his own. The runners didn't react as if it were a safety squeeze or a suicide squeeze. I think Traxel was just trying to surprise the Astros and try to bunt for a base hit right there to get a runner home. Take.
Foul tipped it into the mitt. So that is a strikeout, and it'll bring up Soriano for the second time in the inning.
That's the one time in the game of baseball where a strikeout is a good thing. Yeah, the worst possible thing that could have happened is for Steve Traxel to ground into a double play and lose the opportunity for Soriano to hit with the bases loaded here in the first inning. Cubs already up 4.
Williams from the windup. Here we go. Inside, ball 1. So the Cubs sending at least 10 to the plate in the first inning. Fly ball center field. Hunter Pence will get it, and that's the inning. But the Cubs with a couple of big home runs. Soriano leading it off. And then 3 batters later, Ramirez with a 3-run homer. It's 4-0. Without their best hitter, Derek Lee, in the lineup tonight. Now the Astros Southwest starting lineup. Pence, Biggio, Berkman at the top. Carlos Lee, Mike Lamb, Luke Scott in the middle. Loretta, Munson, and Williams at the bottom.
And let's take a look at the Cubs defensively, brought to you by Rico. Move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. Soriano, Jones, and Floyd once again across the outfield. Ramirez, Terrio, Fonno, Ward across the infield. Jason Kendall doing the catching for Steve Traxel. Cubs have not made an error in their last 5 ball games. Get a look at the numbers for Traxel combined with the Cubs and the Baltimore Orioles earlier this season. Hopefully he'll settle in quickly. I mentioned he and Woody Williams very similar in style, and they need to establish that off-speed pitch, get the right spacing between their fastballs and their change-ups and breaking pitches, and as always keep the ball out of the middle of the plate. Try to make the Astros hit the ball to the big part of the park.
Traxel 7-7 lifetime against the Astros. Pence swings at the first pitch, hits it high in the air. Jones with a long run. It's actually going to drop right near Cliff Floyd. It'll be a double. Somebody has to make that catch. Runner at second, no outs.
Always an easier play for the outfielder coming in than it is for the infielder going out. Mike Fonno figured one of his outfielders would be there to make the play. Cliff Floyd was closest to the ball, but nobody gets to it. And once again, we talked about it at length over the course of the last couple of seasons. That's one of those that calls out for a team error. There's no way Steve Traxel should be penalized for that. He got a pop-up between 3 defenders. Somebody has to make that play.
Biggio bunts toward Darrell Ward, and the Cubs gladly take the first out. I'll tell you, I know it's 4-0, but this is the first inning, and Lou doesn't like to bunt a lot in the opening inning. I'm a little surprised the Astros did it, and Biggio may have done that on his own.
You have to believe Biggio did it on his own. He's a .296 lifetime hitter against Steve Traxel with 4 home runs, and we've talked about that inviting area in the left field for right-handed pull hitters, and Craig Biggio was one of the most extreme right-handed pull hitters in the league.
And they did Traxel a favor. 1 out. The Cubs are going to play back. They don't mind giving up a run if they can get it out. They just don't want a big inning here. Berkman pops it up on the infield. Terrio the catch, and now a chance to get out of it with no damage. I can't imagine Cecil Cooper is very happy with his offense. Their last 2 offensive innings, as far as the less than 2 outs runner at third approach.
I mean, that's a 2-strike swing right there to try to protect the plate on a borderline pitch from your number 3 hitter in the lineup. Steve Traxel's thrown 3 pitches in this ball game, and by all rights should be off the field right now.
The Astros last night in the 9th inning had a runner at third, down a run with nobody out, and Dempster got out of it. Ball 1 on Carlos Lee. The 1-0 pitch. Bouncer just foul past Ramirez at third base. Lee 1 for 9 against Traxel, also 1 for 9 in this series. A left-handed hitter on deck, Mike Lamb. And another lefty after him, Luke Scott. Good smother there by Jason Kendall. He had a big block in the 9th inning last night.
It kind of went unnoticed, except for all the catchers sitting at home watching the game on television. He blocked a tough pitch in the dirt.
Up by Lee. Ramirez a catch. Traxel gets out of it. Nicely done. We've played 1 from Houston. It's 4-0 Cubs.
This is pump up time. I mean, if you can't enjoy wins now, when in the hell do you enjoy them? Next spring? I mean, yeah, this is the time that you get excited. And adrenaline can take you a long ways, and that's why I was saying that last night's game should be we should have follow through from this, and let's hope we do.
That's Lou Piniella talking about that scintillating, exciting, exhilarating win last night. Well, as far as a carryover, the Cubs came out swinging the bats. 10 batters, 4 runs in the first inning, and nice escape job by Steve Traxel. 2 strikes on Mike Fontenot. He's playing second tonight. Mark DeRosa starting this one on the bench. Final game of the season set. Each team has won 7. And then the Cubs head to St. Louis to take on the reeling Cardinals. They just completed an 0-7 road trip. And right now 4.5 out. Drilled foul past Matt Sinatro. Still 1-2 on Mike. Excellent pitching matchup tomorrow night. Carlos Zambrano and Adam Wainwright. And we will be on the air at 7 o'clock Central Time right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Hope you can join us. The upcoming probables: Ted Lilly, Braden Looper in game 1 on Saturday, Sean Marshall, Joel Pinheiro in game 2, and we'll have the nightcap for you: Jason Marquis, Mark Mulder on Sunday. Another one-hit foul, diving attempt by Berkman. He couldn't get it, but it didn't matter. Williams with a 2-2. It's outside, full count. 40 pitches already for Williams. A fly ball left field. This one slicing away from Carlos Lee. It's going to one-hop the wall. Fontenot with a double. He's 2 for 2.
Just raining base hits here at Minute Maid Park. Mike Fontenot going the opposite way. That's very reachable for any left-handed hitter that hits the ball well to the opposite field. This one short hops the out-of-town scoreboard. Hey, we've seen Carlos Lee make some nice plays off that out-of-town scoreboard in the first 2 games to hold Cubs hitters to singles, but that time Mike Fontenot chugs in easily with a double.
Inside on Floyd on a fastball. Cliff walked and scored in the first. And we may see some action in the Astros bullpen. I think both managers are going to have the quick hook tonight. And any sign of trouble in the from the Cubs perspective, and who has a pretty stocked bullpen tonight. Probably won't see Bob Howery. That's about it. Everybody else should be available.
Now this time of year, barring any unforeseen circumstances or injuries or whatever the case may be, most teams have plenty of relief pitchers available at this time of year, and a lot of them are minor league call-ups who have been starting pitchers in the minor leagues, so that can give you multiple innings.
Mark Loretta running hard now, calling and catching. That's out number 1. Final voting for the ultimate 7th inning stretch competition is going on now. Visit Cubs.com and help determine who you think should sing the 7th inning stretch at the Cubs game on September 22nd. There are only 10 finalists left, so don't forget to visit Cubs.com and vote for who you think deserves the title of Ultimate Cubs Fan. Check it out.
Did Santo enter that competition? He should have if he didn't.
You know, that's a good question.
If we're picking the ultimate Cubs fan, all you have to do is listen to Ron and Pat's call on that 9th inning play last night. That double play was a thing of beauty.
Yeah. Ron was in rare form. This will be Biggio to throw out Ramirez. 2 gone. Fontenot now at third base. It's up to Darrell Ward. Well, he's in there because of Derek Lee's right knee. Darrell also had fluid drained in his right knee at the beginning of the week.
Yeah, kind of an unexpected flare-up. He's not had knee surgery in the past. He said nothing really bothered him. He just started to have some excessive fluid buildup in that knee. They drained it when we were back at Wrigley on the last on Monday, I guess, the one-day homestand against the Cardinals, and right back in there swinging the bat tonight.
Now, we don't need to get into all the particulars about that procedure, but based on the conversation I heard you have with him, it sounded like you've had that done before.
I've had it done a couple of times. I told the story before. One of the starting pitchers for the Giants back in 1987, Don Robinson, former Pittsburgh Pirate. I saw him warm up in the bullpen one day, go back to the clubhouse, get his knee drained, put a Band-Aid on the puncture wound, and went right back out to pitch a ball game. It's one of those things that's very dependent on a guy's ability to handle discomfort, and Darrell Ward and Don Robinson, for that matter, have proven to me they can handle it.
He pops it up on the right side. Biggio has it, and that's it. Leadoff double, no runs. Cubs 4, Astros nothing after an inning and a half.
Baseball is brought to you in part by Aflac. Ask about it at work. And by Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move through the world.
a founding member of the Cubs Club, the new official online fan club for the Chicago Cubs. Members will get benefits unavailable to other fans, including a membership card, access to the post-game press conferences, 24/7 interactive cameras at Wrigley Field, and exclusive editorial content provided by the staff of Vineline. Join today by visiting Cubs.com, where baseball is always on. One strike on Lamb. Mike playing third base. He came on and had that pinch hit RBI triple in the ninth. Kind of a strange play. Luke Scott, with the first pitch, he squibbed it very slowly to Aramis Ramirez. He threw out Scott. Lamb was not going on contact. It looked to me like almost everybody on the field was surprised by the way that ball came off his bat, and I'm not sure if there was any way where Lamb could have tried to score, but he ended up kind of hovering around third base, and that was a big first out in that inning.
You know, as a base runner in that situation, Len, you try to prepare yourself for anything that could possibly happen. You're aware of a wild pitch or a pass ball that you might be able to score on. If they hit a ground ball, you're going to make it get through the infield. A fly ball, you're going to tag. But that little squibber off the end of the bat, I think it just caught the Astros by surprise. And Lamb wasn't sure what to do. He tried to sneak down the line a little bit, ultimately ended up going back to third base. And when Rami threw across to get the out, he had no opportunity to score. And that wasn't an easy play for Aramis either. That ball was hit with so much side English, it was still spinning when it got out there in the middle of the infield. He made a nice play to scoop it up and throw to first.
And then the walk of Palmeiro ended up benefiting Dempster. Set up the double play that ended the ball game.
And they absolutely had the right guy at the plate. Eric Munson, tonight's starting catcher for the Astros, does not run well at all. Was slow getting out of the box and slow lumbering down the line, which gave the Cubs the opportunity to turn that double play.
I don't know how you look at Ryan's performance last night. In a lot of ways, I think it was one of the most impressive saves of the year. He did give up a run, but remember how the first guy got on. Mark Loretta hit that chopper off first base. And Cub fans everywhere were saying, here we go again. Lamb swings and misses. That's a strikeout.
Well, and that's one thing you have to fight as a pitcher out there on the mound when things haven't gone well lately, and you got some big base hits against you, blown a save, whatever the case may be. Was as soon as the first sign of adversity rears its ugly head, it's very easy to fall into that pit and start feeling for your sorry. Like you said, here we go again. But Ryan did not do that. He got right back up on the mound, made some quality pitches, and got the desired ground ball. You may remember Lou made a quick trip to the mound and basically told the entire infield and Ryan Dempster, this guy's going to hit us a ground ball right here. We'll turn a double play.
The 1-0 pitch to Scott. Fly ball hit pretty deep. Soriano back on it on the warning track. So is Jock Jones, and a good effort by Jones, but it was just over his head. Here comes a throw toward third base. They have a shot. He's safe. Luke Scott with a triple. Scott won the ball game in the 11th the other night with an RBI triple, and he picks up a 3-base hit here tonight. Boy, Jock Jones almost caught that ball.
Pitch was up and out over the plate. We talked earlier about left-handed hitters that go to the opposite field can hit that ball up into the Crawford boxes. Jones jumps up against the padded wall there trying to make the play. Soriano right there to back it up, and only the speed of Luke Scott allowed him to get into third base before the tag of Aramis Ramirez. Very close play.
Let's see if he got the tag in. So another runner at third with 1 out. Astros could not get him in the first inning when Pence was at third. Mark Loretta last night 3 for 3 with a home run. That crazy single off the first base bag. By the way, the ball on the carom out in left center hit Jock in the head. Fortunately, he's all right.
Well, and that was a good break for the Cubs, because if this ball hits the padded wall and comes back into play, Soriano is going to have to chase it back toward the infield to pick that baseball up. But it unfortunately hit Jock in the head, but fortunately dropped right down on the warning track where Soriano could scoop it up and throw back.
So you'd say that was a heads-up play by Jock.
Heads-up play, absolutely.
Kendall sliding toward the inside part of the plate, and it missed. 2-1. Steve Traxel has not faced the Astros since 2004. He went 2-0 that year against the Astros as a New York Met. Well, not the end of the world if Traxel walks Loretta, because the aforementioned Eric Munson's on deck. Called strike.
Steve Traxel just carving up those corners right now. Missed just off the plate inside with a fastball on the pitch before. Comes right back with a cut fastball on the outside corner. That time he got the called strike to run the count to full.
Watch Traxel here as he goes into his set position. It's almost a balk, but he does it every time. A little bit of a hesitation. Loretta did not go. First and third.
I'll show you that delivery here. He kind of rocks back and then actually goes into his stretch position there. As long as you continue to move, no matter how much you seem to pause, as long as you continue to have movement, that's perfectly legal. And as you said, he does it every time from the stretch position.
It looks slightly awkward, but clearly it's something that makes him comfortable. Munson hits a ground ball. Fontenot, Terrio, Ward. They turn another one. A 4-6-3 double play, and it's still 4-0. Cubs getting another big double play ball. Get Chicago Sports News Nightly on Land Rover Sports Night coming up tonight after Cubs post-game live. The Bears get ready for Kansas City, plus a full update of the NL Central race. Join Mark and Gale for Land Rover Sports Night tonight after Cubs post-game live as Jason Kendall skies it out into center, and it's caught by Hunter Pence.
What a great double play to end that bottom half of the second inning. I tell you, Len, good defense. All it takes is a little forethought, a little anticipation. If anybody other than Eric Munson put that ball in play, the Cubs probably wouldn't even think about trying to turn a double play. But a very slow developing double play. They know the batter at the plate's a slow runner, and Fontenot, Terrio, and Ward able to turn that double play.
One on Jones. Well, after that huge first inning, the Cubs don't want to let Woody Williams settle in. This is the kind of night where you'd like to win it 12-1. And you'd like to shut them out, but when you get into the 7th and 8th inning, you'd like to have a nice 8-9 run cushion.
Especially with 4 games in 3 days coming up in St. Louis, you'd like to ideally get some of those starters out of there who have really been grinding lately. Get some of the kids some advance. Nice play by Berkman down there at first. He'll shovel on to Williams for the out.
Lance Berkman had been splitting his time between first and right when Phil Garner was the manager. One of the first things Cecil Cooper did when he took over, he told Lance Berkman, just settle in at first base.
Well, he settled in on this play, makes a nice backhanded dive on a ball that appeared to be headed for that right field corner, and just knocks it down, able to get to his feet. This is a fairly easy toss for a first baseman. You're coming right down that line. You just lead the pitcher right over the base. Nicely done.
You know, by and large, the superstar hitters in Major League Baseball, and I would put Lance Berkman in that category, they all do pretty much play one position. And I can't think of another example. I'm sure there is one of a guy who does move around, a guy who hits as much as Berkman does. I think more than anything, Cecil Cooper just wanted him to not have to worry about outfielder glove, first baseman's mitt. He's just going to play one position. One ball, no strikes on Ryan Theriot. Pitch charging, and he has it. He'll keep running right into the Astros dugout. He'll bat second in the lineup after Woody Williams in the last of the third. Sign up for a subscription to Vineline, the official monthly magazine of the Chicago Cubs. Vineline offers exclusive player features, team analysis, Wrigley Field news, and Cubs minor league coverage. Subscriptions start at just $24.95. Call 1-800-248-9467 or visit Cubs.com to order Vineline today. Woody Williams bounces it foul. Good to have Officer Todd Schmitz from the Waukegan Police Department, along with his family, rooting on the Cubs here tonight. Good curveball for a strike. 0-2 on the former shortstop. Woody Williams was an infielder in college at the University of Houston. He is now pitching for his hometown team. Taken by the Blue Jays back in 1988 in the 28th round. So when you were a Blue Jay in '89, Woody Williams was just getting his pro career started in that system.
Well, there were a lot of guys that were just getting their career started. The guy ultimately ended up managing with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Todd Stottlemyre was a young player on that Blue Jays team in '89. Woody Williams can swing that bat. Clean single into left field. Fred McGriff was a young up-and-coming first baseman. Pat Borders, who went on to play nearly 20 years in the major leagues, was the third catcher on that team. Didn't know anything about Woody Williams, though. He's just one of those guys out of the mold of Greg Maddux and others that field their position well. They swing the bat well. They can get a bunt down. They can run the bases. Unfortunately for Woody Williams, at this stage of his career, his stuff from the mound is a little bit short. He almost has to be perfect to be effective, as that first inning proved.
Slider strike on Pence. Also want to wish Bill and Colleen Lutzer a happy 50th wedding anniversary. Bill, a former executive producer at WGN. Check swing by Pence. He went too far. 2 strikes. Call made by Eric Cooper.
Take another look at it. Eric Cooper is an umpire who is notorious for his big strike zone when he's working the plate, and just carries it over to first base with him here tonight. Also lend birthday wishes tonight to my sister Doris Brenley, watching back in Gahanna, Ohio tonight. She doesn't miss a Cubs game.
Happy birthday. Cubs scoring 4 runs for Doris tonight. And they want a lot more when they're back at the plate against Woody Williams. Another check swing by Pence. And he held up this time. Probably the biggest criticism you could have of Hunter Pence, based on what we've seen, is the occasional over-aggressive mistake. And he had one last night. In the 8th inning, it was a big play. Alfonso Soriano bobbled the ball out in left field as Pence was getting to second base on a single by Craig Biggio. He tried to get to third and was thrown out. So Soriano turned an error into an outfield assist. 3-2.
You know, one thing about mistakes like this, they're not limited to young players, but if you'll notice, most of the time it's guys who have exceptional tools. And make no mistake about it, Hunter Pence has exceptional tools on the baseball field. That time he thought he was fast enough to outrun that throw back into the infield, but Alfonso Soriano put it right on the money to Aramis Ramirez.
And he strikes out, foul tipped into the glove for out number 1. Oh, he's the kind of player who occasionally will do the no. Yes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He has a very odd style of play. His swing isn't picture perfect. We've seen him move his feet in the batter's box in several of his at-bats in this series. He has a very short arm throwing motion from the outfield. Obviously has blazing speed on the bases, but I tell you, he's not one of those guys that you would immediately look at if he was an amateur player and say, oh yeah, this guy's going to be a good big leaguer. He has kind of an odd way of doing things, but it's worked very well for him this year.
Well, he's a results guy. The bottom line is he has gotten the job done. As has Craig Biggio, and what will likely be a Hall of Fame career.
And talking about Hunter Pence and his speed, that is one thing that is very easy to identify for scouts out in the field watching amateur players. I mean, you can watch a big, strong high school kid hit with an aluminum bat and hit tape measure home runs, but that's no guarantee that he's going to be a big-time power hitter with a wood bat in his hands. But when you see a guy who runs like Hunter Pence, that speed doesn't go away unless he suffers some kind of a debilitating injury to his legs. So pretty easy to project that this guy was going to be a decent player.
Yeah, defense, throwing arm, speed, those are the kind of independent tools of a player that really don't depend at all on anything else. Now 3-1 on Biggio. A lot of at-bats against Steve Traxel. 4 home runs, a bunch of extra base hits.
Well, that's a rarity in the game today to see that many at-bats against an opposing pitcher. You know, way back in the day when you used to play more games against your own division like we do now, and players would stay with the team for more years than they do nowadays, it wasn't unusual to see guys have over 100 at-bats against a pitcher.
Career hit number 3,050 for Biggio, 2 on.
Middle of the plate fastball and up. That's how Craig Biggio has accumulated a lot of those 3,050 base hits. High fastballs.
I want to check out his splits as far as what he hits in certain counts, but you know, based on his overall numbers and the kind of hitter that he is, you give him a much better chance if you're behind Craig Biggio, because it forces you, as you said, to put the ball out over the plate, generally with fastballs. If you can get ahead of him, you have a great chance to get him out. Ball 1 on Berkman.
Well, especially this year, 102 strikeouts for Craig Biggio and 472 at-bats coming into play tonight. Only 20 base on balls, so it's very apparent that he's not up there looking for a walk.
Line, and it'll be caught. It'll be a double play. Williams got caught off second base. Fontenot after the catch. Through to Terrio. Nicely done. So they get out of another inning. It's still 4-zip Cubs. Well, back on May 6th, 1998, at the age of 20, Kerry Wood struck out 20 Houston Astros. In our Aflac trivia question, can you name the only other pitcher in history to strike out his age? So, for instance, Kerry Wood, 20 strikeouts at the age of 20. And unless there's been a 3-year-old major league pitcher, would have to think it would be in the upper teens. One and nothing on Steve Traxel. And we understand the number is 17. Two-one pitch. Pence is going to go back on this one. Hit pretty well by Traxel, and he makes a grab right in front of the warning track. Steve Traxel, with 3 career home runs, gave that one a long ride.
A low fastball. Traxel happens to catch on the barrel of the bat. Pence looked like he was camped under it initially, started gliding back, and ultimately ended up sprinting back toward the warning track in center field. Makes a nice running catch.
Well, I always try to reserve judgment if just something pops into my head until I look at the numbers. And you know, speaking of Craig Biggio, it looks like the trends this year, if you work a deep count, you have a chance to get him out. Craig Biggio hitting .356 on the first pitch. In a 1-1 count, he's hitting .486. But just 1 for 9 when it's 3-1. And I guess now 2 for 10 since he picked up a base hit. 5 for 35 in a 3-2 count. So if you keep him in the at bat, you have a much better chance to get him. Soriano will fly to center, just like the pitcher. And 4 of the last 5 outs recorded by Williams have been fly balls to center field.
Well, and we were talking about amateur scouts a moment ago, and have a nice note here from Ryan Ewan. He says he's the Peoria Chiefs' 9-year-old scout. Wants us to say hello to Pete Vanaken and the Peoria Chiefs. And we'd like to say hello to Pete.
Oh, yeah. Pete and Rocky and everybody with the Peoria Chiefs. Congrats on a great year. Drew a ton of fans. Ryan Sandberg in his first year as a pro manager. Fontenot grounds out. Pat Listash, the AA Tennessee Smokies manager, now with the Cubs for the rest of the way. Always good to see Pat. It's 4-0 Cubs. To our Aflac trivia question, we talked about Kerry Wood, 20 strikeouts as a 20-year-old. Can you name the other pitcher in Major League history to strike out his age? Aflac. Bob Feller back in 1936 was 17 years old and struck out 17 Philadelphia A's.
Rapid Robert.
Well, the good news is the Cubs are up 4-0, but Woody Williams has retired 9 in a row. So it puts a little more pressure on Steve Traxel, who has found a way to escape. A couple of double plays have helped him. So if he and the bullpen do their jobs tonight, Cubs will be fine. Carlos Lee, 4-1. That's his 28th. Just a matter of time for Carlos Lee. He was 1 for 10 in the series going into that at bat.
Not only that, he was 1 for 10 against Steve Traxel lifetime without a home run.
And the good news, bad news again. Bad news, it's a home run. The good news is it's only a solo leading off the inning.
Well, we talk a lot about how this crazy game can change, and you know, there's no guarantee that Carlos Lee would have gotten that same sequence of pitches had he batted in the bottom of the third inning, but that big double play to get the Cubs out of the jam made it a moot point. You got Carlos Lee up there with nobody on base. Minimize the damage.
Traxel tonight pitching on 3 days rest. On Sunday he went just 2 innings through 47 pitches. The next one he'll throw to Mike Lamb will also be his 47th tonight. On fewer than 4 days rest in his career, he's done this now 7 times. 1 and 4 with a .586. He's looking for his first win since he was an Oriole back on August 18th, 5 starts ago. And with him starting tonight, Sean Marshall starting game 2 Saturday. There's no guarantee that either will make another start after this turn through the rotation. The Cubs have a couple of off days in the final week plus. So there may be one extra start for a 5th guy. That may be it.
Well, it goes without saying that the deeper Steve Traxel can work into this ball game today, the better. Go into St. Louis with as rested a bullpen as possible. And the offense will have a lot to say about that. You put a few more tack-on runs on the board here, and Lou will be able to use some of the guys in the bullpen that he probably would not use in a close ball game in St. Louis over the weekend.
Hey, Peoria Chiefs fan.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Next to the Phil Mickelson lookalike. 2-0.
I mentioned that Ryan Ewan, the Peoria Chiefs 9-year-old scout. I think that might violate several child labor laws, but we appreciate his efforts.
Yeah. Change up on a 2-0, and it was a strike. 2-1. The thing you don't want to have happen, you kind of equate this to getting your entire year's salary on January 1st and hoping it holds up. Cubs don't want that to happen. They want to get paid every month. Scoring 4 in the first, nothing since. Traxel back in it now against Scott, 3-2. We often joke when a team is struggling to score runs and they score 1. And we sit here and sometimes go, all right, Rich Hill or Ted Lilly or Steve Traxel, there's your run. Go get him.
Go get him.
Cubs giving him 4 in the first and saying, go get him. Nice play, and he'll run it halfway over. Underhand to Ward. 2 down.
Well, and your approach offensively should change throughout the course of a ball game like this. It was obvious in the first inning Woody Williams couldn't command any of his pitches. Everything was up and over the heart of the plate, and it turned into batting practice for the Cubs lineup in that first inning, but he very clearly has settled in. He's making much better pitches, moving the ball around, changing speeds well, so it's not batting practice anymore. Sometimes you can take advantage of a pitcher before he gets settled in out there on the mound, but once he does settle in, you have to have better at bats. You have to be smarter about how you approach a guy, especially a Woody Williams or a Steve Traxel.
Well, I give Woody a lot of credit. Last 2 times he has faced the Cubs here, he had horrible first innings, but has found a way to fight back. And he would probably tell you that, 10, 12 years ago, he might not have been able to battle back. Mark Loretta with another solo home run for the Astros, and it's 4-2. Lee and Loretta here in the 4th. sit here and cry about the Crawford boxes and say that was just a fly ball to left, but that's the same for both teams.
Well, you're absolutely right. It's a fastball up and in, and we've seen guys throughout this series alter their swing just to try to get the barrel of the bat on the ball, and that's all you have to do. Get the barrel of the bat on the ball, hit it with a little bit of authority to left field, and you've got a chance.
Probably not a home run in any other ballpark in the major leagues. Fenway maybe, but I think it probably hits a green monster. Mark Loretta, a former member of the Red Sox. I think he hit that ball about well, they said 344. I'm not so sure. I'm thinking more like 324.
The distance doesn't really matter as long as you get it over that yellow line on top of the fence anywhere in the ballpark, and you just so happen to hit it to the shortest part of this park. I'm telling you, I would have loved this place.
Munson walks.
I think I ended my career with something like 91 home runs. If I'd have played in this ballpark, I might have had 94.
Yeah, you would have done very well in this park.
Such an inviting target, and it has to be a little bit intimidating for a pitcher when you do want to come inside with a fastball, or you try to throw a changeup and spot it low and away and it strays over the heart of the plate. I mean, games can turn around in a hurry with that short porch in left field.
And believe it or not, the Astros had the tying run at the plate. A knee buckler, but it missed. By the way, Mark Loretta with that home run has now reached base in each of his last 7 plate appearances. Going backwards, a home run, a walk, a single, a home run, a single, a walk, and then another walk back in the 11th inning of game 1. He was removed for a pinch runner, Eric Bruntlett, who would come around to score the winning run. Well, he's had a terrific series. Williams flailed at strike 2.
And on the other hand, Eric Munson at first base is just glad he didn't ground into a double play. Ended the ball game last night with the double play ball, and his first at bat in the game today killed a rally with another double play.
I think he was thrilled Loretta hit a home run until he came up with nobody on, even though there were 2 outs. But when you're going like Munson's going, he probably figured I'll still hit into a double play even with 2 outs. Did you ever get in a stretch where you were praying you came up with 2 outs because you didn't want to hit into a double play?
Just about every at bat, yeah.
Way outside. Traxel is staying away from his fastball. He keeps checking his right hand. Not sure if there's a blister or what's going on. A couple of times he has looked at his pitching hand here in this sequence. Maybe he's having trouble gripping the ball. Williams swings and misses. And a bounce throw by Jason Kendall to first base. 2 solo home runs in the inning, Lee and Loretta, and it's now 4-2.
Baseball is brought to you in part by Midas. Visit Midas for brakes, expert auto maintenance, and tires. And by the all-new full-size 2007 Toyota Tundra.
Each team with 6 hits, and 2 home runs. The key is that one of the Cubs home runs was a 3-run blast by Aramis Ramirez. Time to get something going here again against Woody Williams. Cubs trying to find their second wind offensively. Their last hit was a Mike Fontenot double in the second. Hit hard. Biggio finds it on the backhand. A one-hop screamer hit by Cliff.
I'll tell you what, Len, talking about hard hit balls, Cliff Floyd hit a deep home run to right field, but that triple that he hit to center field, we've talked about it going all the way back to spring training. Cliff Floyd hits the ball as hard as anybody in the game, and he hit a line drive to center field that Hunter Pence just absolutely got handcuffed by. Accelerated, flew over his head all the way to the wall and straightaway center. I mean, you got to hit it a long way for Cliff to get a triple.
Pence thought that ball was going to land in front of him, and it just, as you said, absolutely took off. Ramirez with that inside-out swing. Scott racing over, and he has it. Nicely done by Scott. That was a fair ball.
Boy, and a long run for Luke Scott out there in right field. He had shaded over into right center for Aramis Ramirez a little bit. Very little foul territory down the lines here at Minute Maid Park, and makes that catch just before crashing into the padded wall out there.
And you may have noticed, and a lot of outfielders do this, that big outfielder's glove, and you can see a pretty good portion of his palm was actually outside the glove. Makes the glove even bigger.
As you might expect, different positions require different things out of the leather that you wear.
Darrell Ward deep to right. Gone. A line drive home run. 5-2. His third of the year. And for Darrell, that is his 30th career home run here at Minute Maid Park. Former Astro.
Three for 23 against Woody Williams. Before this swing, looked like a little cut fastball that just strayed over the heart of the plate. A line drive home run about 4 or 5 rows up into the bleachers in right field. Boy, we talk about it all the time, Len. There's no question Darrell Ward is the #1 pinch hitter off of Lou Piniella's bench, especially when there's runners on base and opportunity to score some runs. So important to get him some at-bats in a game where he can go up there and know he's going to get 3 or 4 hacks at it. Get a little rhythm going, so when you need him in the 8th or 9th inning of a close ball game, he's had some recent at-bats and has had an opportunity to get his timing down at the plate.
He's in the lineup because Derek Lee's right knee bothering him after a foul ball last night. Scott going into right center. Cubs hit the ball extremely hard every swing in the inning. They do end up with a run on Darrell Ward's solo home run. Cubs with 5 runs on 3 home runs tonight. It's 5-2.
Time now for a GMC Sports Update.
Hi there, Gail Fisher here inside our Comcast Sportsnet studios. We'll get you back out to the game in just a second, but first let's check in on some other action around the league. The Cardinals ending their series in Cincinnati in the bottom of the 5th. Dave Ross, it's a 2-run shot to left, and that ends up being the game-winning run as the Reds sweep the Cardinals 5-4 the final, and that's going to do it from here. Now let's go back to Len and Bob in Houston.
It's 5-1 Cincinnati.
Thanks a lot, Gail. It's been a road trip of opportunities for the Cubs. If they can win tonight and they're leading 5-2, they'll have a half-game lead in the division.
Well, Lou talked about it before the ball game. He hoped that last night's dramatic victory would carry over a little emotional lift for today's ball game. And judging from that first inning, the boys took it to heart tonight and need to continue to tack on some more runs here. Give Steve Trax a little more breathing room when they get an opportunity again in the top half of the inning.
Top 3 in Cecil Cooper's batting order. 2-0 on Hunter Pence. 5-2 Cubs. Big swing by Pence. 2-1. Well, the city of Houston pretty fortunate as a tropical storm Humberto pretty much missed the city, did some damage on the coast. And I guess at one point it was a Category 1 hurricane. It was a base hit. So at least one hit in every inning for the Astros. We thought we were going to see a lot of rain here in downtown Houston, and relatively unscathed overnight and into today.
Kind of like Humberto Quintero. One hit in his first 2 games of this series. Did a little damage, but not as much as he possibly could have.
Seven hits for the Astros. Nothing on Biggio. Pence with a good lead at first base. And Traxel will throw over. Happy 80th birthday to Bill Larson in Belvedere, Illinois. Lifelong Cubs fan. From his wife Mary and their family. Bill, a nephew of Hal Carlson, who pitched for the Cubs from 1927 to 1930. Also want to wish a happy 50th birthday to Tom Wilton, who grew up in Glenview, Illinois, now lives in Iowa. Pence faked. And that ball high in the air, sending Jones into the gap in right center. It's going to be run down.
That's what you hope to see from Steve Traxel in this ball game tonight. He's a fly ball pitcher, and that's fine if you can get him to hit those fly balls between right center and left center in this ballpark.
Best wishes to Aaron Ritgarn of South Elgin, big Cub fan. Aaron, we hope you're doing well. Scott Air is up in the Cubs pen. To go get him out of the out-of-town scoreboard. We had fun with Scott last night, sticking his head out in that Washington, Florida line score. Pence wants to go, but just hasn't committed yet. They don't run a whole lot. They're only 12th in the National League in steals, with 59 on the year.
And Pence, the only Astro in double figures. He's got 10 stolen bases in 14 attempts this year. That's a number that you have to believe is going to go up in future seasons for Hunter Pence.
LoJack caught stealing report. LoJack, the only stolen vehicle recovery system operated by the police. Another throw.
You may notice Hunter Pence has his left hand wrapped up. And I don't know this for a fact. I'm just speculating. But when you see that kind of a wrap around the middle of the palm, that's usually from blisters from taking too much batting practice.
There he goes. Berkman with a foul pop and no room.
Boy, it's too bad that ball did not stay in play. Pence had gone head first into second base. He didn't know where the ball was hit. Well, that comes down on the field of play. There's a pretty good chance they double him off first base. Running with his head down, has no idea what's happening at home plate. Ryan Theriot came over as if he were going to cover second base, and Pence got decoyed into that head first slide into second base. Would have been doubled off easily if that ball stayed in play.
Traxel knows what pitch he's going to throw. Here it is, outside. Get well wishes to Richard Strachura, recovering at Evanston Northwestern Hospital. That's from his son Robert, a lieutenant commander in the U.S. Navy stationed in San Diego. Fans chanting Lou, or maybe Luke. Or maybe they're booing Steve Traxel because he keeps throwing to first.
I would guess for answer number C. He's doing what he has to do. Try to keep that double play in order. Shorten up that runner at first base lead just a little bit. Make sure he's not getting out there on that front leg where he could possibly break up a double play at second base.
Maybe they're saying moo.
Yeah, maybe.
All four.
Not what you want to do with big Carlos Lee coming to the plate, even though Traxel has handled it pretty well in their respective careers. Carlos did launch one his last time up, leading off the fourth inning.
And this is going to be Steve Traxel's final opportunity here. If he doesn't get Lee, I think there's any question Lou is going to go with Scott Air because he had Lamb and Scott to follow. The key moment for Steve Traxel, if he wants to qualify for the win tonight, he's going to have to get Carlos Lee. And he would love a double play ball. That would end the inning. He keeps blowing on that right hand.
Well, Carlos Lee has grounded into double plays a bunch this season, 24 times. Traxel just trying to stay away. Big slow curveball for strike one on the outside corner. Comes right back with a cut fastball a little further off the outside corner.
Deep breath and a 1-1 pitch. 1-2.
Almost a carbon copy of the strike one pitch. Big slow breaking ball on the outside corner at the knees.
Kick in a 1-2. He swings and misses and strikes out. So now the question is Traxel going to get a chance to win this ball game? And here comes Lou. 4 2/3 in for Traxel, but Lou might go with Scott Air in this spot.
Well, he hasn't signaled to the bullpen yet, as we're going to get another look at that strike three pitch. Good straight changeup. Steve Traxel really sells it well with his arm speed. Got Carlos Lee way out in front of that straight changeup.
I think Lou said, how do you feel? And he's going to leave Steve in there. And again, if he can get out of this fifth inning with the lead, he'll have a chance for his first win as a Cub since 1999. His last victory as a Chicago Cub, October 3rd, 1999. And a win tonight would make it 2,906 days between Cub wins. Third longest such streak in franchise history. Greg Maddux with the record, 4,223 days. Fergie Jenkins, 3,118. Pulled the strings, strike one.
Well, he's found a pitch that's working well for him here in this inning. Not only the big over-the-top curveball, but that straight changeup has got some swings and misses here in key situations.
We're in the fifth. The Cubs scored 4 times before Woody Williams could get an out in the opening inning. They would add on in the top of the fifth. Darrell Ward with a home run. Back in the 4th inning, Lee and Loretta for the Astros went deep. This has been some heavy lifting for Traxel tonight. They're trying to get through 5. Dodging base runners all night. Bouncer to Traxel. And we are through 5. And the Cubs lead Houston 5-2.
When the Cubs game is over, stay tuned for Cubs postgame live on Comcast Sportsnet. All the interviews and press conferences, in-depth game highlights, and Dan Presek breaks down all the action. Cubs postgame live after the game on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
Well, we're into the 6th inning with the Cubs leading the Astros 5-2, trying to win the season series 8-7. Cubs have had their most trouble within the division against the bottom 3 teams, the Astros, the Pirates, and the Reds. Carlos Lee's going to have to play that one off the out-of-town board, bare hands, and keeps Jock Jones to a single. It's not the first single that's gone off the wall in this series. Might be it for Steve Traxel. He got through 5 innings with a 3-run lead and has a chance now for his first win, 2nd time around as a Cub. And Craig Monroe is in the on-deck circle behind Terrio, so can add up Traxel's totals. 5 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, both were earned, 3 strikeouts. 3 walks rather, 4 strikeouts, and 2 home runs.
Well, a nice job of tap dancing into and out of trouble tonight for Steve Traxel. Made some of his best pitches when he needed them the most. We talk a lot about timely hitting, coming up with those big base hits with runners in scoring position when you need them the most, and pitchers have to do the same thing sometimes. You're not always going to have your ace stuff when you go out there to the mound, and occasionally you're going to find yourself in trouble. That's when you need to make those timely clutch pitches.
5 innings for Traxel and 2 runs allowed. Terrio hits that ball to Biggio, the sliding play, and he gets the out. Ryan was trying to skid it past Biggio, but he couldn't. Runner at second, 1 out.
The way Biggio caught that ball, looked like he was just going to be content to knock it down, try to keep it in the infield, maybe pick it up and throw Terrio out, but he was able to come up with it cleanly and turns it into a fairly routine play.
Craig Monroe now pinch hitting. Craig is from Texas, hails from Texarkana, Texas. And a base hit, rocketed past Lamb, 1st and 3rd.
No chance for J.J. to score on that ball. It was hit so hard to left field. Plus, Jock had to hold up momentarily to make sure that ball got through the left side of the infield. One thing about those Crawford boxes out there in left, they will give you the occasional cheap home run, but makes it very tough to score on a base hit because that left fielder is so close to home plate.
43rd pinch hit for the Cubs this year, and 192 at bats. Feel the breeze up here on that big swing by Soriano. 1 strike. And on the hands, 2 strikes. Well, Soriano led off the ball game with his 8th leadoff home run of the year, number 40 in his career.
Gave the Cub fans here at Minute Maid Park something to get out of their seats for right away in this ball game.
It's his 3rd leadoff home run this month. Hit 2 against the Dodgers in that series at Wrigley Field. Jones at 3rd, Monroe at 1st. And Soriano went too far. That's a strikeout. I don't know if Alfonso knows. You know, he just found out that Eric Cooper down at first base decided to ring him up on the swing.
We saw a borderline check swing called a strike earlier in the ball game. Soriano can't believe this one. Once again, he used that big heavy bat way down at the knob. Man, looked like he might have held up that time.
I think you're right about Eric Cooper's strike zone.
Told the story many times before. Eric Cooper threw me out of a ball game one time because I told him his strike zone was as big as the world. That was enough. No profanity involved, just strike zone as big as the world.
It was the thought that counted. 2-0 on Fontenot's 2 out of 3. Getting what has become a rare start for him at second base. Action out of the Houston pen. Trevor Miller. Three balls, no strikes. Floyd awaits on deck. Cubs leading despite the fact they're without Derek Lee. It was a late scratch due to a sore right knee. Now 3-1. We're going to see Scott Air, it looks like, in the bottom of the 6th. 2 of the first 3 hitters he would face will be left-handers. Popped up by Mike off of third base. Lamb and Loretta are over there. Loretta with the best angle. It's fair and it's caught. Cubs lead 2. Last of the 6th, Scott, Loretta, and Munson against Scott Air when we come back.
It's the Chevy Model Year-End event, and we've just extended the best offer ever on the all-new Silverado Crew Cab. 0% APR for 60 months on Silverado half-ton crew cabs for well-qualified buyers. Just click and go online to find the one you want, then get to your Chevy dealer. That's right, we've just extended 0% APR for 60 months on Silverado Crew Cab. Click on ChevyDriveChicago.com. Then see your Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana Chevy dealer.
Tomorrow, it's going to be a big-time matchup in St. Louis as Derek Lee and the Cubs battle Albert Pujols and the Cardinals, followed by Cubs post-game live. Cubs Cardinals, tomorrow night at 7 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best.
When the subject is trucks, you've got to know how to work it. Quad City Spring is all over that. When you need organizing systems for pickups and vans, and Adrian Steel custom setups are your mandatory upgrades, Quad City Spring gets the call. Ladder racks, toolboxes, towing, and truck accessories, we've got you covered. When the subject is trucks, Quad City Spring knows how you want to get it done. Got a truck? Work it, baby. Quad City Spring, 34th Street and River Drive, Moline.
Order WWE 24/7 on demand today and get your first month free. Each month, WWE 24/7 gives you access to 40 hours of sports entertainment's greatest moments, pulled from the world's largest wrestling library. Plus, September is your chance to see the winning WWE's biggest fan contest videos and the biggest fan red carpet event. Time is running out. Get your free month of WWE 24/7 and play, rewind, relive.
Watching the home of the Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, and White Sox. Comcast Sportsnet.
It's countdown to kickoff with Muhsin Muhammad coming up tonight at 11 on Comcast Sportsnet. Pat Boyle and the Bears' go-to receiver have a complete preview of the Week 2 matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's presented by IPA tonight at 11 right here on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Here's Scott Air. I almost said Iyer. And there's kind of a funny story to that. Lou Piniella has called Scott Air Stevie Iyer, and it's become kind of a running joke as he faces Luke Scott. Don't know if we'll be able to catch it. He is breaking out a new glove, and most players, they have their name somewhere stitched on the glove.
Right on that thumb area, it's hard to see from that angle. Makes me dizzy trying to read it upside down.
Well, that might not be the new one, but he has a new name on that new glove.
Well,
it's not Scott Air.
He's been a new pitcher in the second half of the season, and this is his 21st outing since the All-Star break. In the previous 20, he's held the opposition to an ERA of 1.08. As bad as he was in the first half of the season, he's been that good in the second half. Got 5 outs on Sunday in Pittsburgh. 3 of those came on strikeouts.
Base hit for Luke Scott. Well, the Astros keep pressing. They have a hit in every inning, including 2 in the third and 2 in the fourth. Both those hits in the fourth were home runs. There's Scott from last night, just kind of hanging out in the out-of-town board and left. Got to be careful here with Loretta. He's reached in 7 straight plate appearances, including a couple of home runs. Swung on and missed. Doesn't sound like Adam Everett's going to be back this year. Broken right leg. Kerry Wood is up. Everett had a collision out and left with Carlos Lee.
Everett's been involved in baseball activities. I've seen him taking ground balls. He takes his batting practice. He's just not able to run it 100% without favoring that broken leg.
It's back in mid-June So he's already missed half a season. Called strike 3, and Loretta knew it. So 1 out, and we'll see if Munson's going to hit. It's going to be a pinch hitter.
Boy, that has to be a case of Mark Loretta guessing in that situation. Normally a veteran hitter like Loretta wouldn't guess in a 2-strike count, but apparently thought he was going to get a breaking ball from Scott Air and just froze on that fastball right down the middle.
Cody Ransom. Little pinch hit for Munson. They're stocked with catchers. They have Quintero and Osmus. J.R. Tolles, also a catcher on the roster. Ransom was with the Cubs in spring training 2 years ago and spent part of that season with AAA Iowa. Former San Francisco Giant. Think about a guy tagging up, maybe holding for Ransom. You know, you got a lot of fun ways to work it in with Cody Ransom. A chopper slowly hit Fontenot. The tag and the double play. 4-3. Nicely done by Fontenot. Third double play, and he's been involved in all 3 of them tonight. That gets the Cubs out of the 6th. 5-2 to the 7th. Time now for a Coors Light Cold Blast to the booth. Got an email from Jim McElhenney. Wanted to wish his mother, Helen, a happy 100th birthday. It's coming up tomorrow. So happy 100th to Helen McElhenney. Right now in a nursing home is Cliff Floyd with a blast to right and gone. A home run. He crushed it. 6-2. Cubs have hit 4 tonight off Woody Williams.
Well, and I'll tell you what, we talked about it last night. Lou Piniella giving Cliff Floyd a week off, letting him recharge his batteries, physically get himself back into playing shape, and he has come back with a vengeance. Second home run in as many days. We talked about that screaming triple to center field last night. Even his outs in this series have been hard hit balls.
What was the line to reporters? He was walking through the clubhouse yesterday and said, can you believe a guy this big has 5 home runs? Ramirez stumbled out of the box. That ball is going to be caught by Luke Scott. 7 home runs now for Cliff.
Oh man, pitch up and out over the plate where Cliff can get that full extension, get down and through the ball. He's able to keep it fair. It didn't hook at all. Way back into right field.
Shallow center. Pence was playing very deep, and it costs him. And that's 11 hits now for the Cubs. Yeah, the line by Cliff, quote, ever seen a guy that big with only 5 home runs? Just kind of said it to nobody. Well, he has 2 since.
I'll tell you, 100 pence for a guy who's played 49 games here in his home ballpark this year. He's getting some funky jumps on balls out there in center. Now, as you said, with Darrell Ward at the plate, he was playing extremely deep, but A late start and was just kind of jogging in after that baseball.
First time the Cubs have hit 4 home runs in a game since June 8th at Atlanta. Now 126 on the season. Soriano, Ramirez, Ward, Floyd. 4 of the top 5 hitters, so I guess Fontenot now going to have to hit one in the late innings. And 2 of the 4 have gone to right and hit by lefties, which is good to see. Jason Kendall. It's caught by Carlos Lee. That ball struck well. So back to our cold blast to the booth. Helen McElhenney in Princeton, Indiana. We wish her a very happy 100. We apologize for being interrupted, but it was a good interruption.
That was Cliff's birthday present to her.
Foul tip by Jones. Cubs hoping the Reds stay hot. But they just swept the Cardinals. Cincinnati flying to Milwaukee to start a series tomorrow. Right-hander Tom Schern versus Ben Sheets in game 1 tomorrow night. I mentioned Zambrano and Wainwright in St. Louis. We'll have game 1 right here on Comcast Sportsnet. We'll see Tom Schern next week against the Cubs. Bronson Arroyo, Aaron Harang will also pitch in that series. Tom Schern is in his 12th pro season, but very recently made his major league debut. He was living in the groundskeeper's trailer at the AAA ballpark in Louisville when he got called up.
What a great story.
He's trying to save some money. Hey, we also want to wish Cubs left-hander Carmen Pignatello a happy belated 25th birthday. Turned 25 yesterday.
If you're sleeping in that grounds crew room, you have to make sure you don't roll over on a rake or something. It could be dangerous. I'll tell you, Len, I'm a little surprised Woody Williams is still in this ballgame. Now, granted, the Astros are in a little different situation than the Cubs. The Cubs trying to win every ball game to get to the postseason. The Astros are kind of taking this opportunity in the last month of the season to take a look at some of their players, see how it all fits together next season. We saw Humberto Quintero catch the first 2 games of this series. Eric Munson catching today. Of course, Brad Osmus will be their starting catcher next year, we assume. And Woody Williams, they're really not much mystery about it. You know what you're going to get from Woody Williams. He's not going to change at this stage of his career, and you might think Cecil Cooper and his staff would take this opportunity to look at some of the guys they have down in that bullpen.
And it's a bullpen that has not allowed a run in the series, and right now working on the longest active scoreless inning streak by a bullpen, 14 and counting. Another pop up by Jones. It's like Quintero's going to have room this time. Floyd led off the inning with a home run. Second leadoff home run for the Cubs tonight. Soriano back in the first. It is 6-2 in Houston.
Next Tuesday, the Cubs host the Reds. Game time is 7:05, but be sure to get there early. I'll tell you why, because the first 20,000 fans will receive a scratch and win card, and 100 random winners will receive a Majestic Athletic Aramis Ramirez 2007 home jersey, compliments of Gatorade. Fans are encouraged to hold on to their cards for second chance drawings throughout the game. For complete rules, as always, visit Cubs.com.
Felix P.A. is now in center, and Jock Jones moves to right. That's normal protocol in the late innings. And Cliff Floyd starts. And Chris Burke announced as a pinch hitter. And a pitching change coming up. Brought to you by Jimmy John's for freaky fast delivery. Visit jimmyjohns.com. Kerry Wood coming on. We'll be back. Here's Kerry Wood. No Bob Howry tonight. He's been very busy lately. Carlos Marmol slated for the 8th inning. Strike on the pinch hitter Chris Burke. Now Bob Howry had worked in 3 in a row. Going back to Monday. Burke pulled the bat back and took the slider off the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Check that. I believe yeah, it is 1-1. I had it wrong on the board. Good slide piece, 1-2. Carries from Irving, Texas, in the Dallas area, with the Grand Prairie High. After having his option for this year bought out by the Cubs, he re-signed to a 1-year contract in last November. Around $1.75 million with incentives. Three-two pitch. We'll do it again. Good look at the pants of Pence. Pence's pants. Felix P.A. 1 out.
You know that we go to different ballparks around the league. We just came from Pittsburgh, where we talked about splashdown home runs in the Allegheny River. I wonder if anybody's ever gone to straightaway center field here. 436 out there behind Towles Hill. That would take quite a blast. I have to believe somebody's hit one out there. But
I think so, and I also believe it might have been Richie Sexson. Somebody hit a ball off the flagpole, which is in play. It's kind of like old Tiger Stadium. If you hit it off the flagpole, it's actually on Towles Hill. That is not a home run. Right on the left at 436. Now that is not fair.
No,
you can hit a ball 440 feet, but if you hit the flagpole that sits in play, it's not a home run. Named after Tal Smith, the president of baseball operations and the interim general manager.
Yeah, I understand the nod to tradition and why they did it, but Hunter Pence, a guy that figures to be the center fielder here in Houston for a long time. First time he has to go up Towles Hill there, and his knee buckles underneath him, and he missed any extended amount of time. I don't know what good idea that's going to be.
Jones in the corner for the second out.
I mean, it's one thing at a place like Wrigley Field for the bullpens down the right and left field line because there's really nowhere else to put them. It's out of necessity that you have those bullpens. So that area in center field was just put there for decoration. In my eyes, an unnecessary hazard.
Fouled back over our heads by Biggio. 1 strike.
Good fastball from Kerry Wood tonight. He's consistently been in the low to mid 90s with that heater. That last one at 94.
Biggio has had a lot of experience, but not much success against Kerry Wood. Punches it foul, still 2 strikes. Called strike 3. 11th time Biggio has struck out against Kerry Wood in his career. A 1-2-3 set in the 7th for Woody. It's time for the sharp aquas detail of the game. How about starting the ball game with a home run? That's a good detail. Cubs would score 4 times in that first inning as Aramis Ramirez would later hit a 3-run homer. Now into the Astros bullpen, left-hander Trevor Miller.
74th appearance of the season. Averages about a hit an inning, about a strikeout per inning. Right-handers doing considerably better than lefties, as you might imagine, with that low 3/4 almost sidearm delivery.
The starter Williams gave up 6 runs on 11 hits in his 7 innings. By far the Cubs offense's best performance versus Woody Williams in his 5 starts against them this year. One and nothing on Ryan Theriot, batting 8th for the 2nd straight night. Prior to this outing for Woody Williams, he hadn't allowed more than 2 runs against the Cubs in his previous 4 starts this year. He's run it to 3-0. Matt Merton in the on-deck circle for Wood. Quintero wants a fastball on the inside part of the plate. That's what he gets. And it's dropped by Lamb. That'll be an error. Theriot reaches to start the inning.
th error of the season for Mike Lamb down there at third base. What happened there? That ball just hit him in a bad spot right in the middle of the glove.
I have a theory. Mike Lamb probably figured there was no way Ryan Theriot was going to pull a ball.
Surprise.
It's rare to see Ryan turn on anything. The pitch was inside. He hit a ground ball to the hot corner, and now he's on the second error for the Astros. Matt Merton pinch hitting.
1-for-1 lifetime against Trevor Miller with a home run. Change up that time from the left-hander. Got Merton way out in front.
Miller has a sign. See Quintero sliding toward the inside, and Merton strikes out. Back to the top, and Soriano. If you look at the overall series, he's just 2 for 14. And one of those hits, the leadoff home run tonight. Slings it in there for a strike. The next one, a bouncer. Loretta to Biggio, and they are able to turn it. Berkman with a scoop at first base. Astros turn their first double play tonight. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th, and the Cubs leading by 4. Gale, it's 6-2. Cubs are trying to win the decisive game of this series. The Cubs on this trip, which includes a game at Wrigley Field, 3-3. Off to St. Louis for 4 this weekend. After the Cubs hopefully wrap up a win tonight. Steve Traxel, the starter, gave up 2 in 5 innings. And Carlos Marmol's the 4th pitcher. Traxel, Air, Wood, and now Marmol. This might be the key inning, this 8th, because Berkman and Lee, 2 most dangerous hitters in this lineup, are coming up.
Followed by their 2 best left-handed hitters as well. So big inning for Carlos Marmol.
Bounded foul. Well, we don't know which Cardinals team the Cubs are going to face this weekend. Is it going to be the team that got back into it with excellent starting pitching, or the team that has basically dropped out of it with bad starting pitching? Kip Wells today suffered his 17th loss of the year. Berkman went too far, and that's a strikeout.
Good hard slider down and in. Berkman gets that bat way out in front of the dish, no doubt about it. Yeah, I'm not quite ready to look ahead to that Cardinals series just yet. Let's wrap this one up first.
A liner right at PA. Lee is gone.
Feeling more comfortable by the out, though. Yeah, all kidding aside, you look ahead to that Cardinals series, and because they have so many of their offensive weapons dinged up and out of the lineup, really emphasizes the importance of either not pitching to Albert Pujols or at least pitching him extremely carefully. I mean, you almost have to treat Albert Pujols like Barry Bonds in this series. I mean, not that the other offensive players in the Cardinals lineup are incapable of doing damage, but certainly Pujols is the guy who is the most likely culprit.
Well, Rick Ankiel also just kind of fallen off the map after that controversial HGH story came out late last week. He had 2 home runs and 7 RBIs, and then the next morning it was in all the papers, and he has really scuffled since. But one thing to consider, the Cardinals are 39-31 at home, and this entire losing streak has been on the road. Well, you know they'll be up for the Cubs. It's kind of their last stand if they want to hang around at all. It's just over 2 weeks to go. They're 4.5 out, and if the Cubs hang on, it'll be 5.
Well, it's always a big series when you go to St. Louis to play the Cardinals, or they come up to Wrigley to play the Cubs, just because of the rivalry. But Given the Cardinals' position in the standings right now and where the Cubs are, this figures to be some kind of an emotional weekend down there in St. Louis.
That one hurt. Lamb fouled it off his front leg.
In all my years of baseball, I've never seen more of this than we've seen this year. Every team, including the Cubs, a lot of foul balls off the front leg, a lot of foul balls off the back leg.
Got the night off last night. 2 scoreless innings, 4 strikeouts in game 1. The 3-2 swing and the miss. Marmol cruises through the 8th with a couple of strikeouts, and it's 6-2. Stick around for Cubs post-game live. Get highlights of all the action and analysis from Dan Plesac. Don't miss Cubs post-game live immediately following our broadcast from Houston right here on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. This will be the Astros debut for hard-throwing right-hander Dennis Sarfate, who was acquired from Milwaukee 2 days ago in exchange for cash considerations. Pitched to AAA in the Brewers chain this year. Went 2-7 for Nashville with 4 saves and a .452 earned run average.
Struck out 68 batters in just over 61 innings of work.
He appeared in 8 big league games for the Brewers last year. Struck out 11 in 8 1/3. Had a .432 ERA. And he'll face Mike Fontenot as we start the ninth. Cubs 6, Houston 2. .94 on the Heat. It's late in Philly, and the Phillies leading the Rockies 12-4 in the bottom of the 8th. Two teams in the wild card chase. Tied for second, both 2.5 behind San Diego. And I guess both those teams are rooting for the Dodgers, even though the Dodgers are tied with them. Loretta makes a catch on the other side of second base. 1 out. Padres down 1-0 at Los Angeles tonight. Greg Maddux pitching for the Padres. And David Wells scheduled for the Dodgers. Double check, make sure he's in there. How about Wells and Maddux, 2 of the best strike throwers in Major League history. Yep, Maddux and Wells, former teammates.
You're going to have to hit your way on in that ball game. There would be very few, if any, base on balls while those 2 guys are in the game.
Felix P.A. skies that ball. It's caught by Scott. Over in the American League, Baltimore shut out the Angels. Former Cub John Lester got his second win of the year against 1 defeat. Yankees lost at Toronto 2-1. Pulled foul by Ramirez. So the Yankees' 7-game winning streak is now over. Blue Jays got a run in the bottom of the 9th to win it. So because of that loss, Detroit's now 3.5 out of the wild card. Tigers off tonight. And Seattle now 6 out as they host Tampa Bay, and they're trailing 1-0 in the first. Boy, look out.
Heads up. Now, see, that's what I'd do. I'd use that camera as a shield, although I've been told to protect the equipment at all costs. They'd rather see me take one in the forehead than see one of these monitors get hit with a foul ball, but I think I'd get behind that camera, too.
Nice job, Chris, to get out of the way. One other score tonight. Oakland leading Texas in Northern California 2-1 early on. They're in the second. Here it's 6-2 Cubs. The 2-2 pitch. Count holds. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, Scott, Loretta, Quintero due up. Ground ball to short, and Mark Loretta throws out Aramis Ramirez. So the Cubs don't do anything against the bullpen, but they lead by 4 going to the bottom of the 9th. Nissan drive time. All the home runs. Soriano in the first is 25th. Ramirez 3-run shot is 23rd. Darrell Ward with his 3rd. That was in the 5th inning. Cliff Floyd with number 7 in the 7th.
That's a sight to behold. That's something we thought we were going to see a lot of when we left Mesa. It wasn't to be throughout the first half of the season and most of the second half, but all people are going to remember is how you finish, and the Cubs are starting to flex their muscles here in the final couple of weeks of the season.
Carlos Marmol a chance here to close them out after he worked a 1-2-3 8th inning. A 4-run lead. I'll tell you, you can save your closer tonight, Bob Howry. That's big. That one a big blast by Luke Scott. A leaping attempt, and Jock caught it. Oh. What a catch by Jones. He stole away a home run. And just a smile and a tip of the cap from Luke Scott. I wasn't sure he had it. He didn't really react. He came down with it, and he keeps it 6-2. What a play.
Oh, just perfectly timed. Used his left hand to feel where that wall was as he backs up into a position, goes up above the wall. The only place in this ballpark where you can get up above the wall and steal a home run, and that's exactly what Jock Jones does. Beautiful catch.
Ball was ticketed for the chest of that fan right behind the wall. How about the reaction from Luke Scott? I mean, all he could do is smile and tip his cap. Hit hard. Ward will get it to Marmol covering. 2 down.
I mean, what else do? You hit a ball about as good as you think you need to get it out of the ballpark. The guy goes up above the fence to make the catch. All you can do is smile and say, nicely done, Jock Jones. I owe you one.
Pinch hitter here, Josh Anderson. And for Quintero. Fastball strays a bit. 1 ball, no strikes. Slider outside. Well, all in all, you have to say this was an excellent series for the Cubs. I mean, winning 2 out of 3, you take that every time. Cubs had a very frustrating night in game 1. They were able to just squeak out a win last night. And a big night offensively tonight early on.
Well, and obviously you'd like to win all 3 games in a convincing fashion going into that series in St. Louis, but if you have to win 2 out of 3, I think it evolved exactly the way Lou would have wanted it to. If you're going to lose one, lose the first one, come back with a dramatic win last night, and then a very convincing offensive performance tonight, not to mention a nice job by Steve Traxel to dance around for 5 innings on the line for a win, and so far scoreless relief.
Another pinch hitter, Orlando Palmeiro. He came a long way to see this one. Swing and a miss. 2 strikes on Palmeiro. Pitch, swing and a miss. Cubs win. And back in sole possession of first place in the National League Central. Steve Traxel with his first win as a Chicago Cub since October 3rd, 1999. Over 2,900 days in between Cubs wins for Steve Traxel. Wasn't the prettiest victory of Steve Traxel's career, but he'll take it. The Cubs will gladly take it.
He was effective enough. You know, when the offense scores 4 runs in the first inning, you don't have to be perfect, but he did exactly what the Cubs needed him to do, and then 4 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball from the bullpen tonight.
So the standings favor the Cubs, a half game up on idle Milwaukee. Cardinals now pushed to 5 out in the division, and boy, a nice win for the Cubs tonight. 2 hours 37 minutes, 34,234. Steve Traxel improving to 1-2 as a Cub here in 07, and 7-10 overall. Woody Williams with the loss, 8-15. What a catch by Jock Jones to put an exclamation mark on this win tonight in the 9th inning. So that'll do it for our game coverage. Stay tuned for post-game live. The final once again, the Cubs 6, the Astros 2. Our next Cubs telecast, another big one tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. Big series in St. Louis, the Aces on the mound. Zambrano, Wainwright. In-game scoring provided by ScorePad. And now for Bob Brenly, Bob Albrecht, Dave Turner, Tamara Anderson, and our great crew here in Houston. This is Len Casper. You've been watching Cubs baseball on Comcast Sportsnet.